Hear the sound, create a word, learn to read. Part 5, Instructing using Elkonin Boxes using the principles of D.E.L.T. In the paper Teaching Technology Change, How Knowledge, Confidence, Beliefs, and Culture Intersect by Peggy Etmar and Anne Levwich, they examine technology integration through the lens of the teacher as an agent of change. In this article, there are many key principles of teacher integration and teaching with technology that outline the effectiveness of teachers to properly integrate technology for improved learning outcomes. Many teachers utilize technology for personal, professional, and educational purposes. When the data is looked at more closely through the use of technology, the data reported tends to use lower-level technology. Teachers are provided per school, per district, and per state with technology, but access is limited as seen during the pandemic. The digital divide does not only affect students, but also teachers. Without unlimited universal methods and teacher training, the ability to properly capitalize on the educational technology that is available can be very limited. Teachers in the 21st century need to be able to utilize technology to help their students be effective digital citizens. What are some of the key technology and educational platforms that we can use as teachers to learn about teaching as well as to teach, and how can they be used with Elkonin Boxes? I'm first going to examine how to learn utilizing Google products, specifically the Google Slide Deck and its components. There are many products that assist teachers to make learning more engaging and their students more interested. You can see here from the Google product icons that we can look at Google Classroom, Docs, Slides, Jamboards, Sheets, but let's delve a little bit into Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, you can set up various classes depending on what you're teaching. These are my second grade classes. In the Google Classroom, if we open it up, you can also see that you can set up classwork, people, you can even have your grades marked in here, and students can access anything that you do on Google by just going to this one screen. How do we use slides for Google Classroom? Well, let's look at when you have Google Slides, you can start with anything. You can basically begin and create using all of the same and similar extensions that you're used to using in Docs. With Elkonin Boxes, you can break it up and put down for your students different words. You can then have them start to use these words on the board or overhead, or you can give them the words from the blue list or the yellow list, and then they can start to move these words into the different boxes themselves. It's wonderful because all of this can be available to each student, and each of them can have their own slide deck on a macro level in the building of literacy lessons. We can find those boxes, and then we can start to begin to write with them. Once you have allowed your students to learn how to use the Google Slide, then you can also allow them to create slides with those words. They can insert a new slide, taking one of their words, and create a story with it. I can do this with my second graders, so I believe that this can be done with many different types of students. Just to review, Google Classroom can be used in many different ways. Google Docs, Google Classroom, Google Slides. Another important platform that we can learn about is Scratch. Scratch is an interactive coding for teachers. It's a great springboard to traditional text-based coding languages like Ruby or Swift, taking this one right from the web. Scratch has an expansive community of users and educators from around the world, since Scratch supports dozens of languages. Scratch for educators. Your students can use Scratch to code their own interactive stories, animations, and games. In the process, they learn how to think. We can look at Scratch and how I've utilized students. You can have the students read it themselves, or you can read their stories aloud and help code over. In this book, many of my students were able to use the audio to code and remix, and also they could draw their own pictures. And then you can see that they learned how to code it. So Scratch has many different ways, and it actually has its own educator guide. What I really like about Scratch is that it actually gives teachers the ability to use the educator guide and take students step by step, and even a teacher step by step, how to teach coding. So it makes coding easy and accessible to all students. Literacy and Scratch, it goes hand in hand. And the Elkonin Boxes, all the words that they use, they can then be brought into a word wall after they make their book. And we can use make sure that each student has a high frequency word during their story, and then we can take them to the word wall and use them with Elkonin Boxes. Another great technology program that teachers can use is Epic. Epic offers unlimited access to 40,000 ebooks. It's amazing, and your students can even search a word that they were learning using their Elkonin Boxes and find a book all about that. They can find a book about any subject or any word that you'd like them to learn about. In conclusion, teaching is the exclamation point in teaching. The first three principles of D.E.L.T are happening simultaneously when an educator is teaching. Students will understand that the design of the lesson, Elkonin Boxes, and their method are based in sound educational theory. Students will understand they are engaged in the lesson because Elkonin Boxes are interactive and are based in game theory. They will allow students to interact with words in multiple ways. Students will understand what they are learning because Elkonin Boxes are specific and directed. Students will understand and be able to learn from their teacher because Elkonin Boxes improve a teacher's instruction using multimedia and blended teaching. When teaching using Elkonin Boxes, it is important to also be able to use the technology. I love this platform, and it's free to teachers, and it's toy theater, so if you don't want to make your own Google Slides, it's right there. But allowing teachers to have these resources is what is so vital, and starting with a simple exercise like using Elkonin Boxes to expand students' understanding of phonemes can help a teacher begin the journey to understanding how to teach.